Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to Ancient Empires 2.0. This is a mod for Total War Attila that brings in the ancient era into the game itself, completely reworking every part about Total War Attila to give you an awesome experience. And the brand new update is going to be coming out on the 1st of March, changing so much stuff. The update is just absolutely jam-packed, and here's a list of a few things that the new update will be adding. 23 new playable factions, a complete overhaul to the naval combat, complete reworks to the garrison system, hundreds of new units. And when I say hundreds, I mean it. I think there's something like 100 new naval units, 80 new area of recruitment units, there's 50 new mercenaries, and a ton of other units as well for all the other factions that have also been added in. A complete area of recruitment overhaul, so for example, if I conquer a region in Spain as the Romans, I'll then be able to recruit some types of Spanish units to go ahead and supplement my army. There is also now a significantly more aggressive AI in the campaign, making it so that you have more of a challenge in the mid to late game, especially if you're playing as one of the big boys like Rome or Carthage. We also have several new scripts being implemented into the campaign. If you've ever played the new 12.12 updates, you've seen how great their scripts have been, so it's great to see some being added into Ancient Empires. We also now have plenty of numerous events and dilemmas. I believe the one I saw was something about a new slave uprising, which is really cool, so you better keep them slaves relatively happy or under control. There's also now larger battle maps allowing you to really take advantage of the amazing battles in Ancient Empires. There's also a complete campaign map visual overhaul. There's thousands of minor tweaks, fixes and amendments, as well as rebellions added to every single region. On top of that, they've also added in a ton of new custom siege maps as well. I'll put up an image on your screen right now, you can kind of see it. They've added in Thrones of Britannia maps for all of the land in the in Gaul and in the Celtic areas, which is great because I think Thrones of Britannia has some of the best siege maps in the entirety of Total War history. So to see them added into the game is great. You have Rome 2 siege maps as well as just some normal Attila ones as well. When they are appropriate. So it's really cool. It's great seeing that being added in because, again, you don't want to be fighting over the siege of Carthage and you just have like a normal Attila settlement. That's lame, and they've gone ahead and done their best to kind of address that all the way over the map, and they'll be adding in new ones as the campaign obviously goes on and they kind of update it. But yeah, that's an absolute buttload of stuff being added into the game on top of everything else that they already have in. This is definitely an update you guys should be checking out. And if you do want to check this out before the 1st of March, make sure you go ahead and join their Discord. You can just go ahead and download it from there right now. Obviously, keep in mind that it's going to be a test version. They're currently testing it right now on the Discord. So if you want to help out with that or just play it before the release, maybe report some of the bugs you find if you do run into any, they would really appreciate it. And you get to play this humongous update right now. So as you can see, as I said, 23 new factions added. I believe pretty much every single culture group has at least 5 factions added to them. The Balkan tribes only have 3 and the steppe nomads only have 4, but everyone else has 5, and obviously these guys have their own unique tech trees, they have their own unique building trees, as well as new armies as well being added to them. But also some of these guys are like absolute chads. Like look at the King of Egypt as well. He's ready to take down the world, and obviously Egypt starts off extremely large, ready for combat. This campaign as well, if you don't know, is set in the Second Punic War. Just before the end of it, the Battle of Zama is about to take place as Hannibal and Scipio face off these 2 legendary commanders, and you get to fight that battle right away if you play as Rome or Carthage. And this is really fun. You know, you can kind of obviously turn the Punic War around, maybe kick Rome out of Spain and try and reclaim your territories, or maybe rush for peace as the Romans deal with a lot of other stuff. There's barbarian tribes to the north. You can also see as well historical names as well, so you can actually rename a lot of the factions as well, which is kind of cool to kind of have more of that that other feeling, which is, yeah, pretty nice to have. So obviously Carthage, or you can just kind of go to the rest, you know, kind of the Roman names and stuff like that. So kind of a nice little script that has been added. Just look how badass this Scottish king looks as well. Very nice indeed. So let's just load in as Carthage. I know they're kind of, you know, a faction that probably hasn't received the most updated stuff, but it's just a good faction to kind of show you guys the general feel of the campaign so you guys can get a good idea. And let's say this, if this video gets 400 likes, I will go ahead and start a mini campaign closer to when this mod releases in the next couple of weeks, so that you guys can see the beautiful action that Ancient Empires does have to offer. because a lot of the amazing stuff about this mod was just pre-existing in it and has now just kind of had its stuff adjusted and fixed, and any bugs that kind of were associated with it have been cleaned up. So already I think this mod is an absolute gem, and all these updates is just going to make it even better. So yeah, you have a couple missions as Carthage, obviously to reclaim a lot of land. They want you to kind of take back a lot of your lost land from the First Punic War, which is pretty cool. You obviously have the war right here between Scipio and Hannibal, and we'll fight this battle as well. Why not? It'll be fun to go ahead and take on Scipio before we end this episode. I've also turned off a fog of war as well, so you guys can see the entire map. Obviously, some of the factions I haven't discovered yet, but we can go ahead and take a look at them right now. So obviously Rome are pretty strong right now. They hold land in Macedon, they hold land in Italy, in the south of Greece, obviously Corsica, Sardinia, and also the Spanish land. But this means that they are bordering a lot of factions, and a lot of these factions will be attacking them, which if you're playing as Carthage will give you the opportunity to move on. As well as that, Rome is going to be suffering in the early game on public order, and they're going to have to spend a lot of time internally and making their settlements happy and trying to kind of build up and kind of protect themselves from within, because you're going to be in a pretty tricky situation in the early game fighting this war, which has basically exhausted your people. The Second Punic War being very, very tiring. Obviously you have the whole of Britain as well, with plenty of tribes up here. You got Germania as well. Obviously you got the Egyptians and the Seleucids as well. The Seleucids just being super goddamn powerful, ready for combat. A lot of the tribes up here, obviously Macedon itself is going to be reclaiming a lot of territory. So just an absolute ton of stuff right there. And as I said, area recruitment units. Can I see if there's any area recruitment? Probably Rome would have been a better unit to do that. But say over here, for example, if I select this army, do I have specific area recruitment units? I'm not actually too sure. No, probably not here. Maybe it's a building I'm going to have to pick. But also mercenaries are obviously completely in the game, which is great, which is nice. Maybe there's a specific building for area of recruitment? Probably is the case, because I don't actually have a barracks here. So as you can see, buildings in Age of Empires, in Ancient Empires are completely revamped. A lot of them looking very, very amazing. You have a lot of unique buildings scattered throughout, plenty of palaces and different types of building chains you can really explore. And it does seem like they have also reduced the amount of information on these buildings in the new update, which is great. I think obviously condensing this down is way better. So there's not just like a million bits of information you just don't really understand. So yeah, they have reduced these building stuff down a lot, which is great. You have a whole range of different types of buildings as well, and this is again just for the Carthaginians. Obviously Rome's going to have unique building trees, the Greeks are going to have unique building trees. Everyone's going to kind of scatter off, and yeah, you can really mess around with this. You've got all the different resource buildings. There is an absolute ton in this mod that you can mess around with. Food is obviously very important in Total War Attila, so it's great to see it kind of represented. You're going to have to try and get a lot of these farms up and running, and they're going to be your main money makers, especially in the fertile regions, because fertility is also a thing in Total War Attila, so you're going to have to be making a lot of money kind of picking where you're going to want to farm, and obviously taking farmland is also going to be pretty important. As you can see, the naval units have been obviously completely revamped. You can see the entire navy units have been right here. Obviously Carthage itself can recruit a lot of these units. The naval units themselves generally don't have a ton of men garrisoning them. These ramming ships have 23 men on boats, but then you go over to the marine ships and they have 75, so they're going to be pretty exciting to pack up. I also believe the Romans will have a very large fleet, and so will the Greeks as well. So they're going to be obviously a big fight for Mediterranean itself. We also have a complete tech tree. So again, if we go over to the tech tree, you can see this is unique to Carthage, and they're going to have their own kind of unique reform system. So they're going to obviously have to go through this tech tree to unlock better units. Obviously, I think immediately going through, if you're planning on staying in a war with Rome, going through and getting this Libyan recruitment ASAP is pretty important against the Romans, and the Romans will have obviously their own one, the Greeks will have their own one, the steppes will have, and so on and so on. Basically, I believe it's probably pretty unique per culture group, and that's how it'll be done. Same with buildings, same with army upgrades. Speaking of army upgrades, they also have unique force details and also general upgrades. I love that this is in the game, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of skill upgrades. I think the default Attila one is probably one of the worst in all of Total War history, so the fact that they've gone ahead and revamped this, I'm not sure if these are unique per faction or per culture group, but I believe there are some unique stuff in here at least. So you can kind of go down an administration route, more of a kind of control route, more of a politician, a siege one, or more of a combat oriented one. So I love that this has been updated. As well as that, you also obviously have new traits and ancillaries, as well as heroes gaining nicknames as well. So your generals, if they win certain battles or they're more of a governor, they'll gain a nickname because of that. Obviously, as I said, you already have a ton of new mercenaries as well that you can take from. It might not even be a bad idea to pick up another unit of mercenary elephants as well before going into this battle against the Scipions, against Scipio himself, because he is super strong. Before we do that though, let's just dive in as one of the other factions, just so you guys can see a bit more about maybe another faction somewhere else around the map, and I believe one of the new factions being added into this update, so we'll take a look at one of those really quickly, is going to be the Aravasi, I believe. So if we go over to the Iberian tribes, the Aravasi have also been added in as well. Obviously, again, all of them are going to have their own unique stats and traits and stuff, which is pretty goddamn cool. But yeah, I mean, the fact that there's about 30 to 40 factions. I think there's about 40 factions in the game now, and a lot of them do look and feel pretty unique. I think you can play a lot of these different culture groups and have a very good time. So that's great to see. It really, really is. So let's just quickly take a look at the Aravasi, and kind of you can see the differences in that faction compared to someone like Carthage. Obviously, Carthage has been a main faction. This is a test, the Aravasi. Well, the test has worked. So where are we? We're all the way up here in the north, right? Yeah, we are. We obviously got the Romans right here. There's obviously nomadic tribes roaming around as well. So do we start off a war just out of interest? Like, I don't want to see what the Aravasi. They start off with a little rebellion faction right here, the Aravasi nobles, which I guess you'll take down. And I imagine probably looking to kill Rome. I guess, I mean, fighting Rome is going to be scary for sure. So either maybe befriending them and moving on. So you have just one settlement. You can see kind of the differences. These are land grants, so this is going to be all about pastured land. But you can obviously see, the barbarians are very different to the more civilized Romans or Carthaginians or Greeks in their building tree. Their sanitation is going to be completely different. You can also obviously notice as well, foreign recruitment. That's kind of cool. Giving you access to different types of units. Very nice indeed. They're kind of starting. Oh, wow. They have Aravasi Spearmen. These guys look pretty gnarly indeed. You actually have a fairly large unit to pick up from. And obviously, you're making a lot of money in the early game. If you would have noticed, Carthage wasn't making a lot of money because they're kind of already pretty expanded. They're war exhausted. And their empire is not in a good spot. And that's kind of how to represent that. It's the same with Rome as well. The developers have tried to kind of show off these bigger nations who have been at war for a long time. There's going to be public order issues. There's going to be economy issues. You're going to have to kind of build yourself from the ground up, because that's to kind of represent just how exhausted these nations were after fighting such a large conflict. So you can see all the new buildings, you can see all the new units here. Obviously, you're going to have unique mercenaries here that you don't necessarily have anywhere else, and a completely different style of combat. Their tech trees, as you can see, completely different to the other nations, which is really cool. And you can have these little bonuses as well. Minus 10% campaign movement range for enemy units. This is really cool. That's dope indeed. And you obviously got all the way up as well. And you got some really nice ones in here, obviously, for buildings and other stuff of the like. You're going to have different objectives as well. I'm sure you can get plenty of missions. Oh, yeah, you also obviously have your own family tree and high judges and governors. I don't know if edicts are completely different to how they were. Edicts do look a little bit different, which is cool. Yeah, you have like the food export and stuff like that, which is a nice way to make yourself some money. And obviously, let's also take a look at the general upgrade as well. So it does look like these are the same. That's understandable. I'm sure that's something that they probably will look to update at some point. Obviously, your traits are going to be completely different as well as a barbarian. But yeah, this tree being the same is absolutely fine. There kind of is a one-fits-all. But it's kind of cool to see like a unique kind of bonus maybe for each of the nations somewhere in here to kind of give them that little bit of extra feel. But still very cool nonetheless. I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into the Battle of Zama. I mean, I haven't obviously shown off a lot of the update, because a lot of the update you're going to have to get into yourself, 20, 30, 40, 50 turns into the campaign. But let's just dive in. We'll fight the Battle of Zama really quickly, and you guys can see a bit more about how awesome the battles are themselves. And also, let's before we do as well, let's go to graphics, let's go to custom, and let's just set ourselves up at ultra unit scale really quickly before we do dive into this battle, because of course you got to fight on ultra unit scale and get yourself stuck in. So, yeah, we could obviously just play the Scipio as well right there. But I like the Carthaginians. I prefer the Carthaginians over Romans in these type of games, because you're always fighting about underdog story, which is something I'm a big fan of. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the new update. Is it something you're going to be playing? Is it something you're going to be checking out for sure? Were you a fan of a previous Ancient Empires mod, or were you kind of just never really played it? I think it is a lot more user-friendly as well. Beforehand, it definitely got the vibe of like more of a hardcore system. But obviously now it is a lot more elite. So we are actually outmatched. Scipio does definitely have the advantage. We have the elephants though, which is nice. So let's dive into the engagement and let's see what it's all about. And I think one of the biggest, like the more exciting updates they have is definitely going to be all the new maps as well. Obviously having the Thrones of Britannia maps in there, a lot of Rome 2 maps as well. It's going to make for a very, very interesting campaign. And yeah, you're going to be able to experience some really awesome engagements. So we've obviously got Zama itself. Dry conditions, I'll take that. We are obviously outmatched, in the Roman forces are situated in the north. Lots of skirmishes scattered throughout. You've got obviously a lot of these Astarte, led by the Etruscans, kneeling down like the Triarii do. Very cool indeed. So yeah, the Roman war machine is pretty goddamn scary. But even if you end up losing this battle, it's not the end of the world, because you do have a pretty big advantage in the fact that they are way behind enemy lines. Their quality is going to be very scary, and you're going to be able to kind of whittle that down quite nicely. So stick all the Numidians on the right flank. We'll leave the elephants here, and we'll have obviously Hannibal himself, who obviously we do not want to die. We also have some African veterans as well, who will definitely be very, very good at holding the line against Roman dog. And we have the Gauls. So let's just set up something like this. We could also maybe stick our Numidians actually in here, but I don't really need to. So Romans at the Battle of Zama obviously have the advantage in the cavalry. They have the advantage in the strength of infantry. These skirmishers are going to be pretty scary. Luckily, these skirmishers are not going to be a huge issue for us, because it's an AI and they're going to waste all their skirmishers, which is kind of good for me compared to a player who would not be wasting his skirmishers one bit. They'd be making sure that they are very well utilized and able to come in and just focus down the elephants. So we'll triple speed it up really quickly. And actually what I might do as well is I might get a unit of these guys all the way to the front as well. So let's just get everyone. The AI is still coming towards me, so we'll just kind of hold like here on more of the even footing, I think. And then we will also maybe just stick our skirmishers out on the front line. No, let's stick a unit of just auxiliary Iberian swords. These guys, are they any good? Yeah, I mean, these Gallic warriors are our main strength. And then I'm just trying to kind of put my weaker unit out on the front line. We also have slingers as well, which is nice. Slingers will be able to get some good damage in on their oncoming forces, which is nice. As the enemy force is just holding right now, bracing itself, preparing itself for the oncoming assault. And as well as that, obviously, the energy is pretty important, so we don't want to obviously overcommit ourselves. So let's just continue to close the distance on the enemy forces. And yeah, I'll bring it back to you guys when we are that tag closer. Okay guys, so we have just got into range of the enemy with our slingers. Their Numidians are moving forward, so we obviously want to try and bring these guys down as quickly as possible with our strength. As well as that, my men are pretty tired after the march over here. I did end up running a little bit, which maybe is not the best idea, but should hopefully be okay. Obviously, by the time the enemy come, we'll hopefully be able to catch our breath a little bit. The enemy are actually also charging in, the AI being, Tiller AI stuff, charging straight in with their light cavalry, obviously taking a bit of a pounding. Send out some of our cavalry on this flank. Our skirmishers should be okay to hold this off, obviously, especially if we move off over there and their skirmishers are coming in. So let's go ahead and form up. Even though we are slightly tired, let's go ahead and form up into our phalanxes right there. And we'll let our cavalry fight in. And we'll even maybe throw Hannibal in as well. Yeah, I don't know why the AI does that sometimes, to strap charges in its cavalry, but that's just the normal one. Let's move our slingers as well. Oh my god, that cavalry ripped through me as well. Maybe let's throw in our elephants. And yeah, reform the line there. We'll throw in the elephants. Oh, this is Scipio himself. Yeah, no, it's not. It's just it's just elite cavalry, which is fine. We've got a lot of their skirmishers coming in. I'm fine kind of, trading with their skirmishers. No problem there whatsoever. Hannibal's going to come around and just kind of maneuver himself in here just to help try and turn this tide of battle. Only rally on him, that's fine, as the rest of the enemy force does come closer. And yeah, we managed to get a nice little rest on our infantry as well. Let's just move in here with Hannibal, charge him in. And you should be able to see Hannibal as an actual man as well in this unit. There he is right there. You see Hannibal charging in obviously looking to break the enemy morale and exhaust them out. So yeah, as I said, the majority of the battle, you'll be looking to just try and exhaust your opponent more so than anything else. Generally what will happen is you won't be winning these battles from like killing the enemy. You'll be exhausting them and then routing them is kind of more of the play. So that real fatigue game is super important, and the enemy definitely do struggle. Obviously higher quality units will get tired a lot less, so higher quality units will still be playing a massive role in the battle, because they can get stuck into combat and just basically stay fresher a lot quicker. But yeah, it really is about that quality. It's about kind of staying firm and moving up. And yeah, we have some African veterans here, which I wouldn't mind getting up into the enemy line and hitting them. Also have some swordsmen over here. Our elephants won. Yeah, our elephants smash them. We can also move our elephants around as well a little bit, along with all of these swords. Yeah, we can just really outflank the enemy. Obviously, the AI isn't exactly the smartest. But yeah, so we've got our phalanxes holding. They're a bit outflanked here, but we should hopefully be able to help out against these warriors by throwing in some of our Spanish auxiliary units into them. I'm just obviously very, very nervous about Scipio coming in. Really need to try and win here and beat back the enemy. Some of our skirmishers have also come back, which is always good. We'll throw in the African veterans and get these swords in as well. And I guess what we'll do is we'll also turn these guys off here. I'm just obviously very, very self-conscious about the... yeah, and we all got my Numidian cavalry. I completely forgot about them. Let's get them up here ASAP. Oh my god, I'm an absolute dunce. Definitely not Hannibal. So yeah, I basically brought around some more swords to hold this front line. And we got our elephants coming around as well. Obviously, I want to try and scream my elephants with this unit of swords. Even though these are good swords, I want to scream them so that the elephants can get stuck in and do some damage. I'm reinforcing the center as best as I can. And the battles are definitely longer than vanilla. But they feel more, feel a lot more epic. I mean, look at this battle line right now. It is very cool. And the fact that you're not just killing each other, like, obviously the objective is to kill one another, but I think the fact as well that you are very much just trying to rout your opponent and, you know, kind of fatigue them and break their forces makes the battles way more interesting and way more exciting. God, them javelins are painful because you are very much playing that kind of more historical game like they did historically. There you go. No, we managed to smash a lot of this cavalry, especially with Hannibal coming in. Scipio's not going to stand a chance. Let's get some more of these guys around here. Pursue Scipio as well. We got the Numidians coming in as well. Obviously, our front line is getting absolutely pounded. The hoplites are in hoplite wall, which is nice, but there's still just no match whatsoever. Even with the elephants in as well. We are probably fighting one of the worst units. We're fighting the Triarii with our elephants. Obviously, the Triarii have a much better time of it there. The Triarii are a unit that's not going to break. Even if they get exhausted, they're going to hold firm. And obviously, committing them against my elephants is a very good move there by the AI. As we continue to move in. So, I mean, a pretty juicy battle line right there with the line of hoplites holding firm. So yeah, again, we just want to basically just kind of finish up Scipio. There you go. Scipio's broken now. We've got more of the infantry. That right flank has also gone as well from the Romans. Cavalry can move around now. We'll throw in the Numidians. The Numidians aren't going to do great, obviously, against these skirmishers because they are obviously light cavalry. They should be enough just to pin them down and wait for like Hannibal or someone else to come in, which will be great. Where is Hannibal? Hannibal's just forming up here. We can move in, get some javelins in. Yeah, I mean, that front line battle is just brutal right now. Luckily, they're getting way more tired than we are. We're obviously on the defense, which is nice. Now the rest of the cavalry can just come flying in. Also, maybe drop a rally down right here. I mean, going into the back of the Etruscans is a good idea, because obviously they're a heavy spear unit. But they're going to be able to withstand this compared to a unit that necessarily can't. Let's come back round here. The Numidians can come in over here. Break them. That should be a battle of Zama 1. It's not obviously the most super difficult battle. Obviously against a real person, this will be a very, very hard engagement. I mean, even still, my front line is struggling to break, and yeah, it's going to be a... we still have to actually break the Romans, which is always pretty scary. Our elephants are getting stuck in and doing some great damage. How many kills are they on? They're on 250 kills right now. So the elephants definitely proving their worth. And even more so, they're fighting some of the strongest units in the entire Roman army. So going to be definitely a hard one to break down. We'll get some skirmishes back here as well. Oh my god, we actually need to go help out with the cavalry here as well. My god. Yeah, let's do that. infantry coming around. We've managed to wrap up their spearmen. Spearmen are pretty tired. They'll probably end up breaking when we do actually end up... Oh, we need to send this unit here. When we actually do get them to exhausted, that's going to be the biggest hit to their units. Obviously, all the javelins coming in as well are absolutely huge. So continue just to hit these Hastati. More so looking just to try and rout the enemy in numbers, you know. Now, funny is that this unit, yeah, my unit is just battered right now. Even though they are fighting, obviously, a unit they do outmatch. It's because of other factors. I'm fighting uphill. I'm very tired. My unit is still struggling. Obviously, I'm outnumbered. They're a bit enveloping me. All them stuff does make a big difference. There you go. Obviously, as well, we're going to want to make sure we continue to chase this down now. This unit has routed completely, and it's lost like 5-6 men. It might sound stupid, but as you can see, throughout this battle, I think that's absolutely fine. My unit was getting hammered from the back. But missile fire is now extremely tired. And stuff like that will rout your weaker units. And again, this unit is not exactly a super elite unit. You know, this is one of the weaker units from the south. You know, these aren't going to be like your starter, your Principes, who have a much higher morale value than these guys. And obviously, they're getting hit in the back by elephants, cavalry coming in. All that stuff really does add up and make for some awesome battles. And you can see the balance of power really shifting. And even so, I do obviously talk a lot about how these battles are much longer than vanilla, but they're not even that much longer as well. An average Attila battle, 20v20, is something along the lines of, you know, probably 10 to 15 minutes on an engagement, on a full stack battle. And we've been playing this battle so far for like, well, I've got the battle timer on 40 minutes. We've been playing for 15 minutes right now. You know, that's not exactly very long for a huge battle. You know, this is the Battle of Zama after all. And you can see some of these units are just breaking. They just can't handle the pressure anymore of the combat. And again, a lot of these units won't be breaking. Again, you might be thinking, damn, that's so silly. A unit breaking at 200 men. You know, if that unit was in good support and it was fighting a unit on even ground, it would not be breaking. Because there's all these other factors involved in the battle, that's why a unit like that just can't handle the pressure and has to get out of there. Whereas you compare a unit like that to the elite infantry on this flank, they're completely surrounded, they're getting hammered, they're very tired, and yet they're still holding. And obviously generals are going to make a big difference as well in the mod, keeping your men alive. But there you go, that's pretty much the battle now. We've broken the Romans in routing. And also, one of the things I also really like about the battle as well, the battle system, is that a lot of units do break. So if you just play like properly, you don't just chase everybody down, you just click end battle now, and like, yeah, the battle's over, you know, whatever. The enemy still have a decent army left as well, so you end up fighting these multiple battles. They still lost to, actually they got slaughtered, I take that back. But a lot of the time, the enemy army won't be like completely devastated after one battle, giving a bit more of an exciting kind of like counterplay. And the same for you as well. If you lose an important battle as well, you can also kind of bounce back with that army. It doesn't necessarily get decimated. Unfortunately, though, this time, the Battle of Zama did not go in favor whatsoever of the Romans. So you can just obviously take on the recruits. You can obviously get some money, which wouldn't be bad in the early game. But even still, yeah, Scipio is absolutely screwed. He's in the desert taking attrition. And yeah, you're going to have a very interesting time as the Carthaginians. So that was just a little look at the brand new Ancient Empires update. Make sure you put it down in your diary, 1st of March on the Steam Workshop. Obviously, right now you can go over to their Discord and check it out. But yeah, definitely a mod that is worth your time, especially with the new naval updates, with all the new battle maps, with the new playable factions, garrison units, and all that stuff. It's going to make just for us a super exciting campaign. And yeah, look at this Sacred Band there as well. Woo-wee! Yeah, pretty goddamn amazing. So yeah, definitely a mod to keep on your radar if not playing right now. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of it. As I said, if we hit 400 likes, I'll do a mini campaign closer to the release of this mod. And I'll see you guys in the next one.